Hello guys, it's me Violet, and I just wanted to draw some of my favorite YouTube animators and artists, and just talk about random crazy stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, my a couple of my favorite animators on YouTube are Domics, TonyvToons, JaidenAnimations, The Odd Ones Out, and Somethingelseyt. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure how to say his name. And I don't know why, but I just wanted to draw them. I mean, there were a few people who kind of inspired my channel. I'm still not entirely used to drawing on MS Paint with a tablet. But yeah, the things I kind of wanted to speak about are uh, basically philosophical stuff or astronomy. And I'm probably gonna bore you guys to death, but yeah, I don't. I just wanted to speak about this stuff. Um, I've been watching the Riddle, YouTube channel Riddle. God, the channel is called Riddle. I've been watching it for a while, and I think he was the person who made this video talking about how the universe could end, and that I don't believe. This is one of his own beliefs. He's not entirely sure. He doesn't really know if it will or will not end. Nobody really knows. But I just wanted to point out that I doubt the universe would ever end. I mean, yes, there's black holes and such, and a lot of things get destroyed in the universe, but a lot of things are also created in the universe. But there is something called dark matter. I'm not entirely sure if I'm getting this right, but I think it's called dark matter. And what is going on is the universe is always expanding. It's kind of like if you put dots all around on a balloon. Those dots will they will get bigger and they will stretch across the balloon. Man, I probably sound like an idiot, but yeah, whatever. Let's just skip that there. Um, One person on commented below on his video and that pointed out God, I'm so bad at talking. For some reason a lot of people mention God and things like that in videos about astronomy and their thoughts and people's thoughts about it. But thing is, a lot of people believe in things like people believe in God and Allah and such because they want a comfort for when they die. They don't want to just disappear. So a lot of people make up their own religions or believe in a certain religion. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in a God. I do, but to be honest, I'm sure we all are just afraid of death. But as humans, we are constantly growing and we are constantly changing. We do not know entirely what happens when you die, but I'm definitely sure you don't just disappear. So nobody has to be afraid of something like that. I should probably just pull up the comment that I posted in that video, since I'll be able to read it out and not sound like a complete moron. Okay, so here are the video. Here's the video. These are his assumptions. I'm gonna let the video play in the background, so you guys may or may not be able to hear it. Oh God, this is why I only record. But yeah, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear his video playing in the background, but I'll play it anyways.
Tomorrow. This is the most important question for all mankind. Everyone would like.
Oh God, let me just read out my comment first. I'm sorry. So I commented to Taylor Chan. He said, "Why does everyone seem to think God is real? If he is, then explain why he created such things as, well, you can see the list there." Then he said, "Give me proof he's real. Then I'll believe you." What I wrote may sound messed up, but I'm just gonna say it. There is a reason for everything. And a lot of you may say, oh, so then if everything happens for a reason, why is this happening? And why is this so messed up? You might end up thinking I'm some sort of jerkwad, but don't just judge me off of what I write here. If you want to get to know me, just tell me in the comments and I'll talk to you. I mean, whatever, I guess, but don't just assume that I'm a horrible person because of what I wrote here. I wrote, well, if murder taking a life wasn't real, how would giving birth, which is giving life, exist? Everything in this world has a purpose. Even if it's bad, things happen for a reason. Even if they are very messed up, everything in the universe revolves and dissolves completely around the opposites. If we did not have men, we would not have women. If we did not have adults, we wouldn't have adults. Oh, if we didn't have adults, we wouldn't have children. If we did not have cows, then we wouldn't have milk or whatever. I mean, that doesn't make sense, but yeah, you see my point there. The point is, everything has to have an opposite to exist. And people believe in God because they fear death. When you die, you don't know what happens. Do you just disappear, cease to exist in the crazy universe? Or are you reborn? Does your physical body die while your mind lives on? Do we just live on in space as dust particles? Do we have souls? Do they live on? No one knows, so we create a comfort to live by instead of being stuck with our own thoughts and fear for the rest of our lives. Because what's the point of living if you're just afraid? And I wrote down here, don't go off at me because of everything I said has a reason. Many people in my family have been, well, I'm not going to explain. You see it right there. It's screwed up, but everything does have a reason. If anything breaks you down, just pull yourself back up. Don't Don't be upset about it. Try not to think about it too much. Just be strong. And a lot of you out there may say you are weak, but you aren't. Just try to think these things through, whatever's going on in any of your lives out there, and use it as motivation. Here's the video that Riddle posted.
To look a couple years ahead into the future and see themselves, what their life would be like. But what if I suggest to you to go to a very, very, very distant future? There are
If you can't hear it, then just look up Riddle, uh, whatever years from now here. Here's the name.
so many videos of this sort on YouTube. What will happen in 1,000 years, in 100,000 years, in a million, or even in 1 quintillion years? But why don't we look further? Generally speaking, what will the world be like in God knows how many years? Let's fantasize, visualize, and imagine this fascinating topic. 1 billion years from now, the sun becomes 10% brighter. The average temperature of the Earth's surface is now 47 degrees Celsius. The seas and oceans are gradually evaporating, and the atmosphere is saturated with water vapor, creating a powerful greenhouse effect. Earth is no longer such an hospitable place in our solar system. 3,800,000,000 years from now, Andromeda is hurtling through space towards the Milky Way at a speed of 400,000 kilometers per hour. In the distant 21st century, it was 2.5 million light years from Earth. Now, the Andromeda galaxy has reached the point of contact. Two monsters emerge, creating a new combination megagalaxy, Melonides. 5 billion years from now, our solar system, located in the newly created galaxy of Melonides, is experiencing the final stage of its existence. Our sun is about to reach the point of no return, its radius increasing rapidly. It is now 200 times larger than it was in the 21st century. All of the planets and their satellites in our system have been destroyed, swallowed up by our ever-expanding red giant sun, which now dominates here. 12 billion years from now, our solar system, in which life once thrived, now looks like this. Just a small, dense white dwarf star, which is gradually fading and cooling into the next stage, that of a cold and inactive black dwarf, the remains of our once proud sun. There's nothing else around, but soon even this nothing will disappear. 100 billion years from now, the irregular collection of galaxies known as the Virgo supercluster is nearly 200 million light-years in diameter, and is comprised of hundreds of small clusters and galaxy groups, including our own. This enormous supercluster has now grown so old that it begins to stabilize and converge into one super mega behemoth galaxy that spans hundreds of millions of light years. This same lawlessness is happening across the universe with all of the other superclusters as they also begin to converge. But due to the accelerating effect of dark energy, all of this is happening very slowly, relatively speaking. Mega billions of light years of the cosmic abyss still define the superclusters at this moment in time. 1 trillion years from now, the beginning of the end. Almost all of the existing galaxies have died, and unfortunately, there are almost no clouds of gas left, which are necessary for the formation of new stars. 2 trillion years from now, dark energy is ever faster and faster, dominating the expanses of our universe as the acceleration is accelerating. At this point, the universe's size has reached a truly monumental and mind-boggling scale. The acceleration becomes so rapid that all objects that are beyond our or any local supercluster of galaxies are no longer visible. If there are still surviving sentient beings in the universe at this point, they are no longer able to obtain any new empirical data on the state of the large-scale structure of the universe on the scale studied in the past. 20 trillion years from now, the end of sunsets. Even the longest-lived stars of our galaxy, red dwarfs, pass on into oblivion. After these, there are small, cold black dwarfs and the meager radiation emanating from them. And of course, there still remains the lords of nothingness, black holes. It's growing darker and darker in our galaxy. 100 trillion years from now. This is the end. The last normal star in the universe crosses over. Except for neutron stars and the white, brown, and black dwarfs, there are no more stars in the universe. Black holes, forever drifting across the unending darkness, eat the remnants of the planets. 10 to the 37 years from now, this is the penultimate stage of existence. This is the year 10 followed by 37 zeros of our era. This is the epoch when the only remaining energy in our universe is generated due to the decay of protons and the annihilation of individual particles. All of the wandering planets and other bodies have either already broken down into elementary particles or have been swallowed by black holes. The universe is dying. 10 to the 100th power years from now. The year is 10 followed by 100 zeros of our era. Almost the end. The universe has expanded to such an extent that no words are sufficient to describe the distances between the last surviving black holes and subatomic particles. And finally, non-existence. The end. Nothingness. Due to Hawking radiation, the last of the black holes have evaporated. There is nothing more, and even nothing is no more.
Okay, so yeah, that was that. And pretty depressing, if you ask me. Um, so yeah, I don't believe that's how our universe would end. And I know he's saying these are just his assumptions, and I understand why he would make such an assumption. But there is what scientists call dark matter, which shows that the universe is constantly expanding. Planets are getting farther and farther from each other, and some planets might even be getting bigger, but I'm not entirely sure on that part. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a teen with a laptop. But yeah, everybody has their own beliefs on that. If you guys have any beliefs on the universe you'd like to tell me, just tell me in the comments when this video is over and uploaded, or tell me in the chat room. I think that might work right now. I am not entirely sure, but trying won't hurt, I guess. Oh god, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry that I'm awkward when I do live streams. Obviously, I'm not a outgoing person, and nor am I really a people person. I don't talk to a lot of people in person. Actually, I think a lot of people in my school district hate me. Not entirely sure. They just don't really talk to me. I am super awkward in person, and you can probably tell how awkward I am just by listening to me speak here. Like, I can't even talk to a freaking computer, for goodness sake. That's sakes. That's literally what I'm doing. I mean, at this point, I doubt you guys are even watching anymore. There's another thing I believe in though called astral projection, which is basically making your soul leave your body. A lot of people say that we are souls just stuck and just trapped in these bodies. We are not our bodies. We are our souls. Our souls are basically light energy, and these don't die. A lot of people believe in souls because they've done a thing called astral project. And when you astral project, it's basically leaving your body. In doing this, you are literally leaving your body. When you do this, you basically lay down, relax, listen to, oh god, commercials. When doing this, you basically leave your body, which is just your soul, so you're not freaking dead. You are just basically free to do whatever you want. In that case, you usually lay down, listen to some relaxing music, like maybe binaural beats. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that, but sometimes you can just lay in a quiet room or whatever. You just have to make sure it's completely quiet when doing this. And when you do this, you are kind of having a sort of falling feeling. And a lot of people do this without knowing. When you dream, when you lucid dream, and you realize you're in that dream, you are basically, in a way, astral projecting. You didn't want to do it, obviously. You didn't make yourself do it, but it happens. And a lot of people don't believe in this. A lot of people don't know. And it's kind of cool when you do it. Kind of a. Well, it's something you can't really explain. You have to actually do it to know what I'm speaking about. A lot of other people would explain it obviously better than I can. I'm not one to describe things. And I've only ever basically done it once. And it wasn't by choice. I fell asleep in the corner of my room and kind of got stuck, I guess I could say. It was just a very creepy moment for me because I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sleep, but I ended up kind of getting sort of trapped. I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. I think it was a form of astral projecting, but it felt like something was pushing down on me, trying to keep me there. And I don't want to go into detail with it because a lot of you are going to think that I'm a nutcase. But I'm just going to play the video that I have on on the YouTube tab. The video is by Spirit Science, and if you want to find out more, you can just go to his channel, and he will link you to other guys, and you will see. But basically, your body is not you. You temporarily inhabit your body.
Imagine this scenario. You're lying in your bed, eyes shut, completely relaxed and totally aware. After a few minutes, you feel your body becoming heavy and numb. And then you start rising up, floating a few feet above your head. You look down and find that your physical body is sleeping peacefully on the bed. You notice that there's a glowing, pulsating, bluish white cord connected to your physical body. You are calm, relaxed, and awake. This is not a new experience for you. It will feel a blissful sensation of peace, because you are now unchained from your physical self. You are experiencing a joyous feeling of exhilaration and freedom from bounds. You look around the room and see that everything seems to sparkle. Everything seems to have life, more vibrant. You fly through the ceiling and into the sky and look down at your house becoming smaller and smaller. And soon you can see the curvature of the earth. You think of a friend of yours who lives across the world in Sweden. By thinking about him, you consciously go to him and you zoom across the world, and soon you're coming down into a house. You see your friend eating cookies at his computer. He's wearing TonyvToons and a white t-shirt. Soon you realize it's time for you to go back. When you think about your sleeping body, you find yourself back over your house, slowly moving down into your bedroom, and then back into your sleeping body. You wake up and go to your computer. Your friend is on Skype, and you tell him what you just saw in your dream. Your friend gapes in amazement. That's absolutely right, he says. My friends, welcome to the world of astral projection. Astral projection is a phenomenon that is becoming rapidly more popular in the last 20 years, and even more so in the last 5. It is the process by which the human consciousness temporarily leaves the physical body and functions independently, while the physical body remains still and passive throughout. This results in observing the world from a point of view other than that of the physical body, and by means other than those of the physical senses. While astral projecting, however, you retain a very high level of waking consciousness during the experience, and can remember the event in every detail upon returning to the physical body. For many people, this happens randomly while asleep, becoming conscious in the middle of a dream. If you haven't, odds are somebody you know has. This is a very common experience, which is also known as lucid dreaming or out-of-body experience, OBE for short. This may sound crazy, but it really isn't. It's just relatively outside of the average human consciousness. In fact, we all experience this out-of-body state every night when we sleep. Most of these projections are unconscious because we are not trained to remember them. We'll be talking more about that in a bit. Astral travel was also known about in ancient times. The Egyptians called this their light bulb, Ka. They left inscriptions and drawings on rock walls depicting the soul leaving the human body. The Tibetans called it a double body, which housed the soul. Many Greek philosophers like Plato, Herodotus, and Hermogenes all talked about this as well. It's even written about in the Bible, for example, in the Apocalypse of John, and as well as the epistles of Paul and Tarsus. Reports confirm that at least 1 in 10 people have experienced a conscious OBE, either spontaneous or controlled. Spontaneous OBEs can occur at any time, while sleeping, during sickness, under medication, during an accident, or even while meditating. Control is like it sounds, willingly leaving the body. Before we continue, let's talk a little more about dimensions that we established an understanding of in Lesson 7. The dimension I'd like to talk about in specific is the 4th dimension, which is also generally referred to as the astral realm. Those who have visited the astral typically find themselves in an environment where all senses seem greatly magnified. These senses are not our normal physical senses, but inner astral senses. Thoughts can actually be seen to take shape instantly, and anything desired can be manifested by means of the powers of the imagination in the very process of creation. It is the ultimate place for true creation to take place, because you are only limited by yourself in what you can create. The astral plane vibrates at a much higher frequency than the physical plane. There is no gravity, or at least if there is, you're not bound by it. You're existing in these higher dimensions all at once, no less in the higher ones than here. In Lesson 1, we talked about the thought realm. At that time, I couldn't really say 4th dimension, it would have made no sense. But ultimately, that's where your thoughts are manifested. Even right now, as you're watching this, you're manifesting thoughts or ideas into this realm. From my understanding, emotions manifest on the 5th dimension, or it could be the 6th, as they are much more powerful. When you visit the astral realm, you'll learn that it's basically divided into 3 sections. This spans across different dimensional overtones that we covered previously. They're usually just called lower, middle, or higher astral planes. The difference is their vibratory frequency. The lower astral plane is vibrating at a very low frequency. It's relatively dark and more primal. Some have described it as the places of Dante's Inferno, and others think of it as purgatory. Many lost souls reside here, but it's usually also where people go when they're dreaming, as well as where you're exploring when you are astral projecting, unless you know how to raise your own frequencies into higher realms. It takes a long time to get there, though. The middle realm is a plane full of double rainbows of vivid colors and exquisite beauty. It would be impossible to try and rationalize this place. Everything, including inanimate objects, have auras of energy emanating from them. Time is a great illusion to us, and in these realms, time will seem distorted. Many people have said that they are able to perceive past and future events. Higher astral planes are called the heavens by the Christians, and the Summerland by the spiritualists. This place is beyond comprehension for most people, but is a very pure, angelic realm. It fact, this is where the angels reside. Oh yes, angels are real. Remember when I said you were existing on higher dimensions as well? Well, angels would be a part of your higher self. To this day, all over the world, people report of being visited by angels. This is where they're from. As the dimensional levels go higher and higher, less and less is being documented. For few people have actually been there to write about them, and even those who have a hard time putting such experiences into human words. So, let's talk about some benefits of astral travel. First-hand experience gives us the unique opportunity to experience and explore beyond the limits of our physical senses. It gives us the ability to obtain first-hand knowledge of our existence. Recalling past lives. We learn more about ourselves by understanding our past lives. Most people on Earth have been reincarnating over and over for the past 13,000 years since the to-be-discussed fall I mentioned in Lesson 7. As we project more and more, we begin to have healthy recollections of past lives. Identify reasons for existence. You may even recall the purpose that you came to this lifetime on Earth for. This information can help us get to know ourselves better, overcome traumas, self-cure certain illnesses, and expand our sense of fraternity and universalism. Remember, you don't have a purpose except the one you give yourself. Do you remember what that purpose was? Flight. Probably the best part about astral projection. I've only had 4 or 5 out-of-body experiences personally, but in all of them, I just ended up flying around. One time, I even flew through space. In the astral, in the sky is the limit. You can glide through the air like a balloon, or Superman around the world, breakneck speed. I can't stress enough how fun this is. If you're going to astral project, you'll probably just want to fly all the time. Meeting guides. You can meet up with your non-visible guides. They have had many names throughout history. Your higher self, your guides, your mentors, guardian angels, or simply your helpers. One time I was in meditation and I asked my guides to help me with astral projection, and they told me that they were helping, but I would still have to leave my body consciously on my own. Damn spirit guides. I wanted them to just pull me out. Other benefits also include overall well-being, a reduction in hostility, increased psychic abilities, accelerated personal development, inner calmness, an increased quest for answers, an increased respect and zest for life, meeting deceased loved ones, increased intelligence and memory recall, increased knowledge and wisdom, witnessing other realities, increased self-responsibility, increased spirituality, healing, and the biggest one of all, an understanding of life after death. Through astral projection, individuals are provided with irrefutable personal evidence that we are immortal. The physical body can die, but the consciousness lives forever. It reassures us that there is a life after death. People who have even one OBE are generally transformed, having a much greater faith in existence beyond the physical. Fear of death is just fear of the unknown. Once you separate from your body, you absolutely know that you continue after death. Dying may not be a scary experience, but rather a wondrous spiritual adventure into the next realm of being. Death is something to be embraced with excitement and anticipation when the time arrives. That's key, by the way. When the time arrives. I'm not advocating you kill yourself, especially at this point in human history. You're going to want to be around for what's happening. On that topic, it's time to talk about heaven and hell. When you astral project, one of the first things you realize is that you are in control of your reality, more instantly than on the physical. If you want to fly, you fly. If you want some kind of flying car, you can materialize it right in front of you. Though I'm not sure why you need it. The concept of heaven and hell came from this understanding. When you die, you return to the 4th dimension. If you're a good person, you will create a good reality. Good people create good afterlives in higher dimensions. Then they will hang around in that realm for however long they want, and eventually, if they choose to, return to Earth and start a new lifetime. If you are a bad person, full of hatred and fear or anger, you will also return to this 4th dimension, but you will create a reality full of hatred and fear and anger. Ultimately, heaven and hell are the same place, and it's what you create it to be. For the record, this is how it works in the physical realm as well. We talked about this in Lesson 1. You create your own reality. It's just in this dimension, the process is very slow because everything is more dense. You're bound by your physical body. The silver cord that I mentioned earlier, by the way, is the cord that tethers your physical body to your spirit. It connects when your soul connects to the physical body, and when you are astral projecting, it tethers your spirit to your body, and you can see it, but you can't break it. The cord only breaks when who has ever consciously astral projected will see this cord, which is stretched to infinity, and will make sure that no matter how far you go, you can always return to your body. Dreaming. What are dreams? Well, when you're asleep, you are out of body. Your physical body needs rest, but your consciousness, your spirit, does not. So your consciousness returns to higher levels of being for the night. You do this every night. Remember, in higher dimensions, you can create any experience for yourself instantly. Dreams are simply you just creating experiences for yourself out of memories or thoughts or emotions that you have. Usually while you're dreaming, you're functioning at a very low level of consciousness. You're not trained to remember and consciously experience these realities you're creating, so dreams seem kind of hazy. So when you have a dream and you're pondering the meaning, just ask yourself, why did I give myself that experience? Some have said in these higher realms they can perceive the past and future. Perhaps this is why sometimes we dreams of things that happen a week later. Scientist Stephen LaBerge has actually proven that the phenomenon known as lucid dreaming is real. Lucid dreaming and astral projection are actual scientists will say that astral projection is unproven. However, now we've proven lucid dreaming to be real. So naturally, if you accept lucid dreaming, you have to accept astral projection as well. So what's the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection? Well, lucid dreaming is becoming conscious while asleep, already out of body. Astral projection is consciously leaving the body, going straight from a waking state to an out-of-body state. And that's it. Now I have a little surprise for you, but first I want to say this. I don't have time to speak methods of astral projecting, but I have a myriad of resources for you to look at in case you want to try it out. I really recommend it because it's absolutely the coolest experience you will ever have. Even for you skeptics, I ask that you don't immediately check this out, especially since modern science has proven it to be real. My first recommended source is the book Astral Projection: Amazing Journeys Outside the Body. This is the best book you will ever read on the topic. It has great descriptions and explanations of everything, including tons and tons of projection methods as well. Next, the 3 Robert Monroe books in this order: Far Journey, Ultimate Journey, Journeys Outside the Body. As I mentioned in Lesson 8, Robert Monroe completely mapped out these other worlds, and if you want to learn about them in depth,
Now I'm just going to play his video about dimensions. So,
at the end of
yeah.
Lesson 6, I showed you some really cool geometrically perfect crop circles in the Flower of Life form. Most people didn't like that, or care. So instead, I offer you this. This intense drawing
And I think my internet's going down.
was done by Leonardo da Vinci, proving that he actually studied the Flower of Life form. In fact, over 200 drawings of his were found, all studying different angles and proportions, complete with descriptions of each one. The editor of the book who published these lost drawings didn't really know what they were, so he just said this is how he came up with his gear inventions. Leonardo was able to invent such intricate inventions and designs because he studied fine proportion. Also, Leonardo was a master mason, and it's clear that he most likely got his original knowledge from them. Is the Flower of Life, among other things, the secret information that the Masons have been keeping secret for the last 1,000 years? Today, I was going to look at spirals and sequences found all through the universe, which is pretty important, but at the last minute I decided to change it because I want to show you something else. Now, in the comments or end credits, depending on where you're watching this, I posted links to a TED Talks video by Garrett Lacey, a particle physicist who tells us of an amazing discovery in the scientific field. I want to show you and talk about his findings, and then we'll look at dimensions after that. Okay, so Garrett has discovered that by examining coral, they found that each coral head has thousands of different polyps. These polyps are constantly budding and branching into genetically identical neighbors. Through performing heat experiments on these polyps, they were able to find that every single polyp is part of a whole, a single unit of being, but each one is experiencing its own reality individually. From their findings with the coral, they were able to look at quantum mechanics. See, the mathematics of quantum mechanics shows us exactly how our universe works, and we see that everything in the reality is just continually branching into new possibilities, just like the coral. As humans, we're individually experiencing only one of these possibilities, much like the individual polyps. What physics is telling us is that everything comes down to geometry and the interactions between elementary particles. Things can happen only when things are perfectly balanced. Garrett starts showing us some subatomic particles and the things that make up electrons and protons and neutrons. We always consider these to be the smallest particle, but we never think about what's creating them. Garrett demonstrates to us how the particles that create point particles really work. He shows that when you plot them out and how they move, this is what they look like. At the tiniest scales of the universe and how it works is very beautiful. Now, look at this. This is one of the ways that these charges branch off from each other. As you can see, it flows in a hexagonal pattern, the same pattern that we found in the expanded Flower of Life. Then, if you rotate this pattern in 6-dimensional charge space, you see it forms yet another pattern. Many of you will recognize this as the shape of the Star of David, but its true name is the star tetrahedron, which maps perfectly over the fruit of life. This entire pattern created by the particles is mapped across over precise places on a 200-dimensional spherical shape scientists have called E8, which also has a geometric shape. By rotating that shape as well, you You can see how there are nearly infinite possibilities as to how these elementary particles interact with each other. The details of the reality begin to take form. Now, as this shape is rotating in 8 dimensions, you can see a myriad of different patterns here. Look at this one in particular. This looks a lot like Metatron's cube, doesn't it? At the heart of particle physics is pure, beautiful geometry. By now, you probably can begin to see where sacred geometry falls into this. Where did these shapes originate? Did it just come into being at random? Or does the first shape come from somewhere else? In Lesson 6, we talked about the flower of life. The original, perfect.
If you want to know what Metatron's cube is, you have to watch his whole series. Well, not the entire series, but you might as well to actually understand what he's explaining.
Geometric symmetry that created the universe. This shape, as we learned, is not only the root of all mathematical proportion, light, the platonic solids, but is also the source of every musical system in the universe, including systems both used and unknown to modern man. It is also the source of energy patterns and, well, everything. It all comes from the flower of life. I believe this is what is at the heart of what's forming every subatomic particle formation, and it probably goes at least a few levels deeper than what Pierre is showing us. Now we can start talking about dimensions. These wheels are some of the oldest symbols known. The only places that they've been found is on the ceilings of certain very old Egyptian tombs. They are always found in sets of 4 or 8, and nobody knows what they are. Even the most famous Egyptologists have no idea. But this is actually proof that the Egyptians not only understood the flower of life, but they lived it. Today, I'm going to show you what these wheels meant. And in future lessons, we will go over the details of this unraveling. There's a lot to cover before we get there, though. For the record, the unraveling looks like this. Yeah, it's a doozy. So on the walls with these wheels are drawings of 7 people with animal heads. They're called meters, and each of them has an orangish-red oval above its head. This is called the egg of metamorphosis. The meters are showing us a time when we go through a certain stage of resurrection, which is a rapid biological change into a different life form. Not the average type of resurrection, I know. As you can see here, they're changing directions 90 degrees, and in doing so, they're changing dimensions. See, the dimensional levels are separated by 90 degrees. Musical notes are separated by 90 degrees. The chakras are also 90 degrees. It's a number that continually appears. Probably at this point, we should get a common understanding of what dimensions are, like 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension. What are we talking about here? Most people think of dimension in terms of time and space, the x, y, and z axis, with time becoming the 4th dimension. This is not what we are talking about. What we're seeing as the various dimensional levels has more to do with music and harmonics than anything else. A piano has 8 white keys from C to C, which is the familiar octave, and in between there are 5 black keys. Together this creates what is called the chromatic scale, which is 13 notes, well actually 12, with the 13th being the first in the next octave. So from one C to the next is really 13 steps, not 8. This also correlates with the 7, 8, and 13 chakra system I mentioned in Lesson 2. Keeping that in mind, I want to show you a sine wave. Sine waves correspond with light and the electromagnetic spectrum and the vibration of sound. We're all very familiar with this. In this entire reality we're in, every single thing is based on sine waves. There are no exceptions to this except for maybe spirit and void. Quantum physics and quantum mechanics looks at everything as the reality of one of 2 ways. You can look at anything, like the computer you're watching this video on, to be made up of tiny particles like atoms. Or you can forget about that idea completely and look at it as a vibration, a waveform, such as electromagnetic fields or even sound. If you look at it as atoms, the laws can be seen to fit that model. But if you look at it as waveforms, the laws can be seen to fit that model. Both of these systems come out of the flower of life, one being the one we just looked at, fruit of life to Metatron's cube and beyond, and the other being this beautiful mess of a picture. Just looking at it hurts my head. Everything in this world is a waveform, or can be seen as sound. All things, your body, planets, absolutely everything, are a waveform. If you choose this particular way of looking at reality, and then superimpose that view over the reality of the harmonics of music, we can begin to talk about dimensions. The dimensional levels are nothing but different base rate wavelengths. The only difference between this dimension and any other is the length of this basic waveform. It's just like a radio set. You turn the dial, you pick up a wavelength. It's the same with dimensions. If you were to change the wavelength of your consciousness, and in doing so change all of your body patterns to a wavelength different from this universe, you would literally disappear out of this world and reappear in the one you were tuned in. It's been theorized that the base rate wavelength that we're currently living in is 7.23 centimeters. There's a few reasons for this. In a spiritual sense, the 7.23 wavelength is Om, the Hindu sound of the universe. Maybe that's why oming is such a powerful tool in meditation. Not only that, but if you were to take 100 people and measure the distance between their eyes, the average length is 7.23. Same with the distance from the tip of our chins to the tip of our noses, and the distance across our palms and between our chakras. This 7.23 length is located throughout our bodies in various ways because we are immersed within this particular dimension. There's another reason as well. Bell Laboratories found this wavelength when they were setting up the microwave system around the United States. They found static in their system because they chose a wavelength just slightly longer than 7.23 for their system. In order to get rid of this static, they did something that we as a planet are still suffering from. They upped the power 50,000 times over what we would normally need, which created a very powerful field, so that the 7.33 wavelength would not interfere. It's for those reasons that I believe 7.23 is the wavelength of our dimension. As you go up in dimensional levels, the wavelength gets shorter and shorter, with higher and higher energy. As you go down in levels, the wavelength gets longer and longer, with lower and lower energy, more and more dense. Just as with a piano, there's a space between the notes, so that when you hit one note, there's a very definite place where the next note is. In this waveform universe we exist in, there's a very definite place where the next dimensional level exists. Its specific wavelength relative to this one. Most cultures in the cosmos have a basic understanding of this and understand how to change between dimensions. However, because of certain events that happened on Earth 13,000 years ago, we have all forgotten, but we're about to remember. So if we show each note in the chromatic scale as a circle, we have 13 circles. Each circle represents a white or black key, and the shaded circle at the end would be the 13th note that begins the next octave. This circle here represents the third dimension. This is where we are, and this circle next to it would be the fourth. In lesson 3, we talked about channeling, and this is typically where channeled beings are. This is also where you explore when you are astral projecting or lucid dreaming. Notice now that the musical system goes upwards and downwards forever, octaves over octaves over octaves. Theoretically, this is how the universe goes too, an infinite spectrum of universes in both directions going upwards and downwards forever. I mean, come on, we thought our universe was big, but everything in our universe, as far as we can see, well, that's just this one dimension. You may have heard people talk about 144 dimensions and how 144 relates to other spiritual subjects. This is because there are 12 notes in an octave and 12 overtones between each note. 12 times 12 equals 144 dimensional levels. To be specific, there are 12 major dimensions and 132 minor dimensions within each octave, though in truth this progression probably goes on forever. The diagram we'd be looking at represents one octave. The 13th note repeats, and then there's another octave after that. Looks like I'm about done for the day. I want to show you this. I was watching Ancient Aliens not long ago, and one of the natives who has communication with beings in higher dimensions told the man who was interviewing him
that they have always been here, even right here where we're sitting right now. But you just don't see them. They're in a different frequency.
And no one really got what he meant. So that's kind of a fresh perspective on that. Light is not about what happens to you.
everything in the universe is geometric, whether it's people, trees, cats, planets, solar systems, stars, you name it. Anything in the universe can be measured on a geometric scale. Having said that, it's important to note that creation is also geometric. What we're going to be looking at today is the pattern of creation. Essentially, what this means is that everything in the universe comes out of this single pattern. I'm not making this up. This single image will change everything. When I mentioned in Lesson 5 that the ancient Egyptians and even more ancient civilizations knew about a deeper, basic understanding of the universe, this is the flower of life, and it is also the creation pattern of everything in existence. Even non-tangible things, emotions, thoughts, music in its entire spectrum, everything comes from this image. Okay, so there are 13 information systems that comes out of the flower of life. Today, I'm going to show you how physical reality can manifest itself, which is just one of the 13 systems. In future lessons, we will look at more. It's also important to note that at first it may not make sense. I ask that you do not choose immediately to shut this out, and just watch with an open mind, and try and see this in a new way. Also, I want to tell you that by learning about sacred geometry simply by observing, you are absorbing only a very minuscule amount of information. If you really want to learn more, you must begin to draw it yourself. I kid you not, when you do this, you begin to see things in a new way. You begin to understand why things are done in the way that they are done. I promise. The flower of life was known around the world in ancient times. It was found in Ireland, Turkey, Israel, Egypt, China, Greece, Germany, India, and Iceland. It's also been recorded to have been found in England, Tibet, Japan, Sweden, Lapland, the Yucatan, and I think 14 other places. This thing is everywhere. Not only that, but everywhere around the world it has the same name, the flower of life. Now, to understand the flower of life, first we have to talk about how it's formed. This could get incredibly complex, so I'll try and keep it simple. Imagine consciousness, or spirit, floating in a void, which means nothingness and in spirit. No physical body or mind, just the spirit, and that's it. Then blackness, essentially nothing, all around the spirit, for infinite. The spirit decides to do something, so it expands its consciousness all around itself as far as it can go without moving. It creates a sphere around itself. This is the first circle in the flower of life. Then, spirit has an awareness of what's around itself in 360 degrees. It moves to the very edge of the sphere anywhere and repeats what it did the first time. It creates this image, which also creates the Vesica Pisces. Within the Vesica Pisces is a vast and incredible amount of knowledge about width, proportion, depth. Also comes the square roots of 2, 3, and 5, which are all numbers that go on forever. But even more interestingly, comes geometric information about light. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now, spirit has no choice but to do it again. Spirit is flawless, and therefore it will move flawlessly, creating the next circle either here or here, exactly one radius away from the other circle next to it. Every time spirit moves another sphere, more and more knowledge comes out of the image that is created. The first complete image to be formed is this. It has two names, the seed of life, or the Genesis pattern, and for good reason. Now, let's look at the book of Genesis for a second. Each of these movements, or creations of circles, can be seen as another day. On the first movement, the second sphere, it created knowledge about not only mathematical proportions, but light. The first sentence of Genesis says, the earth was without form and void, and that the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. In the very next sentence, God says, let there be light. The key here is in the order. The movement happened first. Then light happened immediately after. Well, what about the waters? Well, you have to remember, the Bible has been changed over time a lot. The ancient Egyptians would say that the way our modern Bibles begin creation is impossible, especially if you think about it from a physics point of view. Imagine a dark, infinite space that goes on forever and ever in all directions. You're just floating there with nothing. You can't really fall, but where would you fall to? From a purely physics or mathematical point of view, motion itself, or kinetic energy, is absolutely impossible in a void. You can't even rotate, because motion cannot become real unless there is one other object in the space around you. So the ancient Egyptians would say that before God moved upon the face of the waters, it would first have to create something to move relative to. So, Genesis pattern. After 3 spheres, you get the Holy Trinity. Another interesting one, it says in many Bibles of the world, not just the Christian Bible, that on the 4th day of Genesis, exactly one half of creation was completed. Starting from the first motion, exactly one half of the circles were formed on the 4th day. 5th day of Genesis, 6th circle, more information. And then on the 6th day, a geometric miracle takes place. The last circle forms a complete 6-petaled flower. This is what many earlier Bibles meant when they said, in the beginning there was 6. Our Bible even said creation was formed in 6 days, and this fits exactly. This is the pattern of Genesis, and so it's called the Genesis pattern. It's also the beginning of the creation of the universe that we live in. These original movements of spirit are really important. But now let's look at something even cooler. Another image that comes out of this pattern is this. It's called the Tree of Life. Many may recognize this as the Jewish or Hebrew Kabbalah, but the Kabbalah did not originate this image, and there's proof. The tree of life does not belong to any culture, not even Egyptians carved the tree of life on two sets of three pillars at Karnak Temple, Luxor, over 5,000 years ago. It's outside any race or religion. As with all of these images, there are patterns that are intimately connected with nature. You'll also notice that every circle on the tree of life is either the length or width of the vesica Pisces. The second image beyond Genesis in the flower of life is the egg of life. This is formed during the second vortex motion. On its completion, he creates an image like this, a three-dimensional shape that you can hold in your hand. If you were to connect their centers, you would see a cube. So what? Who cares? Well, the ancient Egyptians did, because they were concerned with creation, life, and death. They called this cluster of spheres the egg of life. You probably won't believe me just yet, but this shape is the morphogenic structure that created your body. Your entire physical existence is dependent on the egg of life structure. And everything about you was created from that form. Everything from your eye color to how long your fingers are. This is a whole lesson on its own, so let's move on for now. All around the world, the flower of life was always made the exact same way. See, this pattern can clearly go on forever. However, they always stopped after 19 circles. Why? Well, because they didn't want you to see what I'm about to show you. Back then, this image and knowledge was so sacred, they couldn't allow it to become common knowledge. It was appropriate at that time. However, now we either use the information or fall further into darkness. In biology, all cells have a zona pellucida around the edge. These circles around the flower of life are the zona pellucida of the flower of life. You must remove these, then complete the spheres that were cut off by the zona pellucida. With one more step, you will have the secret. Finish the drawing, add the final missing circles, giving you this. This image is the fruit of life. This pattern of 13 circles is one of the holiest, most sacred forms in existence. It's called the fruit because it is the result, the fruit, from which the fabric of the details of the reality were created. Remember when we talked about male and female energy as a born? As you can see, this image is female. It has no straight lines. However, when you combine male lines with these female circles, something amazing happens. What you do is draw a straight line from the very center of every single circle to every other circle in this image. When you do this, you get an image which is known throughout the universe, everywhere, as Metatron's cube. It is one of the most important informational systems in the universe, one of the basic creation patterns in existence. So what is Metatron's cube? Well, anyone who has studied sacred geometry, or even regular geometry for that matter, knows that there are 5 unique shapes in the universe, and that they are crucial to understanding both regular and sacred geometry. They are called the platonic solids. A platonic solid has certain characteristics by definition. First of all of its faces are the same size. For example, a cube, the most well-known platonic solid, has a square on every face, so all of its faces are the same size. Secondly, the edges of the platonic solid are all the same length. All edges of the cube are the same length. Third, it only has one size of interior angles between the faces. In the case of the cube, this angle is 90 degrees. And fourth, when put inside of a sphere, all of the points will touch the edge of the sphere perfectly. With that definition, there are only 4 shapes besides the cube that fit that description. So what are they? Well, we have the dodecahedron, the tetrahedron, the octahedron, the isosahedron, and the hexahedron. All of these shapes are found within Metatron's cube. This knowledge is also where original alchemy came from. Ancient alchemists and great souls like Pythagoras, father of Greece, considered each shape to have an elemental aspect to it. The tetrahedron was considered fire, the cube was earth, the octahedron was air, the isosahedron was water, and the dodecahedron was ether, also known as prana, and tachyon energy, are all the same thing. They extend anywhere and are accessible at any point in space, time, and dimension. This is the great secret of zero-point technology. The sphere is buoyant. These 6 elements are the building blocks of the universe, and they create the qualities of the universe. To summarize, this is the first informational system that comes out of the fruit of life through Metatron's cube. In alchemy, they rarely discuss ether. I've read that in the Pythagorean school, if you even uttered the word dodecahedron outside of the school, they would kill you on the spot. That's how sacred this shape was. 200 years later, when Plato was alive, he would discuss it, but only very carefully. This is because the dodecahedron is near the outer edge in your energy field, and is the highest form of consciousness. There's quite a bit more here, but I don't think I can go much further on it right now. Anyways, recognize this? The periodic table of elements? Every single element on this table has a geometric relation to one of these 5 shapes. Modern scholars ridiculed this idea until the 1980s, when Professor Robert Moon at the University of Chicago demonstrated that the entire periodic table of elements, literally everything in the physical world, is based on these same 5 forms. In fact, throughout modern physics, chemistry, and biology, the sacred geometric patterns of creation are being rediscovered. Another example is the egg of life that I showed you earlier. Hopefully that will help you to understand just how incredible and important of a discovery this truly is. Everything that modern science knows about the elements and reality are tied together through the platonic solids, which come out of Metatron's cube, which is formed out of the fruit of life, which comes from the flower of life, which is made by spirit. Damn. Whether you're convinced yet or not, this is the missing piece of the puzzle. It all comes down to spirit. Don't forget, this is just one of 13 informational systems that created the universe. If you want to study this on depth on your own, the best resource I'm aware of is the book The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. Alright, I'm going to wrap up with something I think you'll enjoy. Do you believe in aliens? Even after lesson 5, I realize many of you might be skeptical. Would you believe me if I flat out told you that aliens have been coming to Earth and helping us for a very long time now? No? How about now? This is the flower of life in a crop circle. Remember, the flower of life is not only tied to everything in the universe, but consciousness, spirit, as well. Here's another one, and another one. Here's the best Pisces in the crop circle. See, by creating these crop circles, aliens have been actually affecting and helping the consciousness of the planet. Do not fear aliens, they're here to help.
Ow. I'm killing my arm in this position.
From spin class. No? Of course, I started my vocal training in Italy.
BioTruth number 8. Your contact lenses shouldn't be the reason a night out gets uncomfortable. BioTruth solution provides up to 20 hours of moisture. Take the BioTruth challenge.
I think, therefore I am not. Only when the mind is silent, I am. After Dimensions, things got a little hectic. There were literally 5 different topics that opened up for me to talk about, and I didn't know which one to cover. Fortunately, I had this one saved on the back burner, so while I figure out which order to do these next ones in, we can talk about meditation. There's quite a bit going on with meditation than most people realize. The average person will tell you that meditation is simply a tool to calm you down, when in fact, that's probably the least important thing it's good for. We're going to talk a lot more about that soon, but first I want to tell you a story about Robert Monroe. Now, if you were to read his biography on Wikipedia, you'll learn that Robert Monroe was a radio broadcasting executive that was researching the effects of sound patterns on the brain and sleep learning. Then he started exploring out-of-body states of consciousness and formed his own company, the Monroe Institute. And that's about all you'll learn. Unfortunately, that's not really what he did. He learned so much more than anyone today will accept. In fact, he found out more about the nature of the universe than any modern scientist could tell you. The stuff that he has written about seeing and doing out of body is incredible. He's completely mapped out a whole nother world. You might think of him as the Marco Polo of the next world. We've explored the lands and the oceans, and now we're exploring the heavens, or the dimensions of consciousness. In his book Ultimate Journey, Robert Monroe goes to great lengths to map out the human mind, as observed from a more conscious understanding. This is what he says. As human minds, we are what we think. We are also what others think. Most of this has little to do with our physical bodies when we go below the surface. To deal with this more closely, let us create a model of the human mind as it is and operates in practice. A pragmatic model, if you like. Imagine it structured in layers, like an onion, and let us work from the in to out. At the very core is the core self. This is the original human mind, the sum of our experiences without limitation. The inner core is composed of what we have lived and consciously thought to date. The emotions and dreams we've experienced, whether we remember them or not, the pains and the pleasures, the daydreams, wishes, and hopes. This is our essence, our spirit. It is who we really are. Above that is the animal sub-self. This is the layer that is most difficult to control. This is where the filtering, discoloration, and contamination take place. The problem is that we think we need to rely on it, or else we can't remain physically human. Physiologically, it is the cluster consisting of the mammalian brain and the limbic system. Above that is the conscious mind. This layer can be identified as what you think you are. However, it is entirely different from knowing what you are. The reason for this is that only a part of the inner core is available to the conscious you. Hence, there is much distortion, as expression has to pass through the animal sub-self. The conscious mind may be wholly accurate, but some areas may give an opposite interpretation from that of your core self. Though much of this layer is deliberately hidden from others, a considerable part is expressed in your outer self. Because it is so strong, we have no choice in this. This layer is also complicated by belief systems. For many of us, the complexity becomes a maze. It is no surprise that most of us don't find a clear way out. The next outward layer is the human mind external. This is what we think others think of us. This is a grand mixture because part of it is intuitive, nonverbal communication, which gets confused with what our sensory and analytical perception tells us. This layer is constantly changing with new experience and new perception. It is also controlled heavily by cultural context. We develop these artificial and synthetic drives and motivations, which most often leads to mental and physical dysfunction. Instead of being yourself, you begin to lead a totally reactive existence, which is what many people do. If you allow this lifestyle to take over, you can be a living hell. Moving outward, the next level is the human mind role. This is like the skin, what you want others to think of you. This is fairly simple. It is the presentation of the self. Mostly, it is set by the acceptability and needs of the world around you, superimposed hopefully with waves and pulsing, thrusting from your inner core. The presentation of self is careful and usually covered with a sheen of deception. In hard cases, no signs of the inner layers ever even appear, even under great stress. And finally, the outermost layer, much larger than you expect, is composed of other thoughts of you. Consider yourself as existing wherever and whenever another person or being thinks of you, even only occasionally, living almost in memories, but by creating those memories, they are connecting with you, and they do exist all around you. It is because of this that most often others' perceptions of you have very little awareness of what's in your inner core self. The disguise and filtration are in the way. Many people have a hard time connecting with their core self, their spirit. Most don't even know that it exists, so that is changing. So moving on, let's answer the biggest question here. What is the point of meditation? Well, everyone has a different answer to this question. Early research showed that meditation was good for lowering blood pressure, lifting depression, reducing cholesterol, and making physical changes to the brain. These are all incredibly Western views about meditation. There are lots of different types of meditation, but in the traditional Buddhist sense, all of these different forms of meditation all have the same common end result, which was spiritual enlightenment. And through that comes the elimination of suffering. This elimination comes with the understanding of the unity consciousness, which we talked about in Lesson 4, realizing the oneness of all things. See, the traditional intent of meditation is not to eliminate suffering by lowering blood cholesterol or stress, but to eliminate suffering by shifting perspective. Meditation teaches you to turn your attention away from the mundane physical and personal experiences of the world, where problems seem significant, and turn to experience life through a broader, more interconnected perspective, being one with everything. The process transcends and changes our sense of self, so that our problems seem less meaningful and less troubling. The point is not to reduce the physical cause of discomfort through improved health, but to change the importance we place on that discomfort. Maybe it's time to revisit that quote from the beginning. I think, therefore I am not. Only when the mind is silent, I am. When the mind is silent, you can connect fully with the core self, the spirit, going beyond the conscious mind and the animal sub-self, and being in the I am. We haven't really talked about things for you to do since Lesson 3, where we went over the steps to animal communication. So now I'm going to teach you a very basic meditation that you yourself can do. Start by wearing some comfortable clothing and either sit or lie down and become relaxed. First, focus on each part of your body individually. First your feet, then your legs, then your thighs, hands, for about 10 to 20 seconds each, and just focus on them becoming relaxed. Once you've done that all the way to the top of your head, begin to count silently in your head from 100 down to 0. Take your time, it's not a race. If any stray thoughts come into your head, simply ignore them and keep counting. Try not to get distracted. Once you've reached 0, you start the count from 30, and count from 30 down to 0 again. After you've done this a second time, sit in the aura of silence that you've just created for yourself. By this time, your mind should be at peace, and you might even have an experience. Don't expect anything though. Just allow whatever happens to happen. Be in the I am. You'll know when you're ready to finish the session. If you're going to take this seriously, I recommend that you practice on a daily basis. 10 minutes a night even, that's all you need, unless you want to do it more. However, the amount and duration is totally up to you. If meditation isn't what you're looking for, don't feel obliged to start. Finally, let's talk about binaural beats. Binaural beats were first developed by Robert Monroe at the Monroe Institute in experiments to induce different states of consciousness and out-of-body experiences. They are essentially audio tracks that place a single tone in each ear, slightly different from the other, which actually creates a third tone in your head. One ear goes, and the other tone goes, and in your head, you hear, it's pretty cool. What this does, in effect, is actually change your brain frequency, putting you in a different mental state. If you Google it, you can find HemiSync, which stands for Hemisphere Synchronization. This is the Monroe Institute's brand of binaural beats, which is very professional, and they have both guided and free flow meditations that will help you get into different states. The other brand I want to talk about is iDoser, or a separate company. They don't focus on guided meditation, they're more interested in the effects. iDoser has tons of different audio tracks that put you in a range of mental places, from LSD effects to chakra boosting to astral projection. There's a reason they call it digital drugs. I know what you're thinking. Does it work? Absolutely. Does it work if you don't know how to meditate? Not so much. particular Joe decided to try it out. While listening to these tones without any meditational background, it probably wouldn't work so well. You have to be good at getting into a deep meditational state before you start using these tones. If you're serious about trying these and experiencing these effects, it's almost crucial that you learn to meditate on your own first. Get really good at it. A final word of advice. If you are really serious about getting into meditation, join a class. When it comes to meditation, personal guidance from a trained and experienced instructor is paramount. You will accelerate your progress tenfold and you will shoot up to a very high level in no time. And that's all I have for today. Happy meditating.
If you want it, you can have it. But you gotta learn to reach up there and grab it. 'Cause everybody wants to know. Shooting for the stars above. And don't know what will break this morning. You take me out and never get enough.
I might not finish this drawing on
What is
live.
up, and welcome to Koi's Corner, a channel for personal and spiritual growth.
I might finish this at some other point in time. Obviously, I was making a video, but it wasn't uploading here. But yeah, I might not finish this completely over the live stream.
I'm Koi. In the past, we've talked extensively on something known as astral projection. And we've talked about it because it's important to see how such experiences, out-of-body experiences, can really change our perception and our understanding of not only life in general, but the notion of other dimensions and death as well. Now, I did a video on astral projection quite a while back, which you can find up here, but since that time, I've gotten an overwhelming amount of questions ranging through many different topics, and I've also discovered a few new methods of astral projection, which I'm going to be sharing here and now. First and foremost, I think it's very important to clear up that astral projections are not lucid dreams. They are two completely different phenomena, and anyone who's had one or the other or both can easily tell them apart and knows this to be true. Lucid dreaming is merely becoming aware of a dream while we are already in it, whereas astral projection is completely walking ourselves and our body, our spirit body or our soul, whatever it may be, through the process of detaching from the physical body and entering this new dimensional reality, again, of whatever that may be. They are two different things achieved in two different ways. And this is why astral projection, I think, is so much more important in a lot of ways than lucid dreaming, because it is the act of walking ourselves through this detachment and experiencing these new phenomena by choice that really, really destroys our kind of perception of what reality is and how we think it to be. So beyond this common mix-up, there's also the fact that no, you cannot die from an astral projection. Well, you can die in your sleep, you can physically die at any given time, whether it's during an astral projection or not. You can't directly die from an astral projection, as well as astral projections are not demonic entities or demonic things in their own right. While many religions might try to twist these external experiences beyond the body as such, they are just experiences. Our perception is what shapes them. You can view an astral projection as demonic, or you can view it as angelic. The choice is yours, but on a universal level, it's neither. So beyond this, let's point out a few key things that one really should know and understand before and during their astral projection sequence, or as they're getting into it. Number one, as we just said, you can't die directly from an astral projection. Number two, astral projection is completely safe. The No matter what your physical body is doing, it is unharmed, it is separate from your physical body, and therefore not influenced or harmed by it, no matter what, when you come back. Number 3, you don't bring back demons. Like I said, the demonic notion or the angelic notion is of choice, but you don't bring back these makeshift beings with you. The astral plane, the astral realm, the astral experience are their own place of awareness. In the same way, your dreams don't bring back physical entities when you have a dream. They are just...
Sorry, Domics, I'm butchering your hair here. Gotta squeeze it in there, because, yeah, everybody's kind of clustered together here.
there in the dream realm. And number 4, you cannot fear astral projections or you will never have one fully. This is a big one. You have to really want to have an astral projection. You have to love the aspect and the idea of astral projections before you even try projecting. And number 5 is patience, patience, patience. This is the biggest question I get. It doesn't matter what step of astral projection you may be stuck on, the answer to your questions, no matter what it may be, is repetition and patience. Just continue trying, just keep giving it shots. It doesn't matter if it takes months or years, it will eventually occur. That is as simple as it gets. So with wanting this video to be very direct and very simple, let's cut to the chase on how to astral project correctly. Now, I've said in the past in many of my methods that a good time to astral project is at night, or to do the wake back to bed method, which kind of emulates lucid dreaming, going to sleep, waking up in the middle of the night, or just going right to sleep at night and trying to astral project. And while it does work, I've found, in my practice especially, and connecting with others, that the best time to astral project is after actually pretty much a full night of sleep in the early hours of the morning. That is the first step to astral projection before we get into anything, is doing your astral projection or partaking in your astral projection in the very early hours of the morning after you've had a full night of sleep, or at least 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So with that being said, let's get into these steps. Step 1, again, is to go to sleep and don't bother to set an alarm. Allow your body to fully rest, get a full amount of sleep in, but try to go to bed a little bit early, maybe 9 or 10, so that you automatically wake up in the early hours of the morning. Step 2 is to have your phone or laptop nearby and to keep your room as dark as possible. If you don't have dark sheets, night mask, which you can put over your eyes, will do, or you can maybe put a blanket up over your window to make it as dark as possible. Step 3, upon waking, use minimal energy when you are getting up and put on fade away binaural beats at a low volume and apply the blindfolds or to stay in complete darkness. So you may have your window open, you may have lights on in your room, but when you wake up after a full night's sleep with the sun rising, you want to quickly and have these kind of ready. I will have links in the description below to fade away binaural beats, to guided projections. You want to, with very low energy, put on these theta waves, put on this guided projection, then cover the window and put these blinders on, one or the other. So you have just done so. You've just put these theta waves on, these binaural beats that will influence the mind and help you detach. And also covered all lighting in your room with minimal energy. So you are still laying there in a very tired and relaxed state. Step 4, again, stay very relaxed and completely still, sort of laying in a spread eagle pose with your legs and arms out to the side. A good way to imagine this is as if you were making a snow angel. You start in that position, or you lay in that position. And while you lay there, close your eyes and let these theta waves wash over your entire body for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just let them flow fully and feel them while staying consciously aware. The next step is not to focus on breathing. Let it be natural and envision each breath out of your body as you sinking lower and lower and lower into the bed or couch. So while you are laying there, letting these theta waves wash over, you inhale, and as you exhale, imagine your body just sinking, sinking, sinking. Inhale, exhale, sinking, sinking, sinking. Every single time, as low as you can possibly go. And you just continue doing this as long as possible. And as long as you continue doing this, you will eventually get to a point where your entire body begins to vibrate. And this is the transitioning phase between this realm and the next, is breaking through that vibrational state. So step 6, when the vibrational state comes and becomes intense, start to imagine a rope hanging above you in the astral realm. So when you were laying there, sinking into the bed, feeling these vibrations, letting them soak over you, imagine a rope hanging above your head, and imagine your astral arms lifting out of your body, but not lifting your physical arms, only your astral arms, and grabbing the rope and hand over hand, very slowly, pulling yourself out of this physical body. And finally, step 7, you will eventually hear a pop or an envelopment of light kind of hitting you and occurring, and that is the transition, that you have just entered the astral realm. Is that kind of kick, essentially, that you feel this detachment from the physical world we live in and into this astral experience. Most likely, you will be in your room when you are experiencing this astral projection, so when you pop out, you will be in a kind of distorted, Tron-like, maybe blue hued or different colored hued aspect or vision of your room that you are in right now. It's going to look the same for where you are projecting to most people, but you will know you are in the astral body because you will probably be floating and probably be very movable, light, and transparent. From that point, you can venture out of your room, through your walls, out your door, and into the astral realm to do as you please and to interact and create with whatever occurs. Another big step after this is to just not freak out. I say this in all my guides, but you just can't freak out. The hardest thing about projecting is that when you have that first projection experience, you get very excited. You are aware of your astral projection, but you get so excited that you snap back to your body, and that's the end of your projection. Now you have to do it again some other night. So do your best to, when you recognize this astral experience, to slowly accept it in a kind of meditative state, and then move forward with it. Don't let it fully freak you out, but embrace it, be thankful for it, and move into it slowly and peacefully. And after that, you have now entered the astral realm, and you are in the astral realm fully and can do as you please. So that really is the guide to astral projection, the kind of common misconceptions we have about it, and how we can use this very common rope method in a new kind of light to get outside this physical body to experience new dimensional realities like never before. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave those down below. And as always, I will see you guys next time. All right. Way down
alone with 5 days till Christmas. Oh, mom and dad know what's top on my wish list. A tattletale baby, pray that I get it. I think I should sneak a peek at my presents. Freaking down the basement stairs. I heard
Whatever.
somebody moving. I'd like to play a game with them. I think I found a new friend.
Why?
Let's hope this time we can get this back.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
That's my icebreaker. I just floated across the street. I'm the entertainer, and I'm moving. Don't be a stranger. I like your mustache, and I must have clothes your decorator. Mighty stylers, mighty violence. Is he having trouble with bears? Why in the strangeness? What's in the basement? And why is it got me so many stairs? Curiosity, I think the best of me. What we'll see, yeah, I gotta see. Curiosity, I really have to be. What we'll see, yeah, I gotta see. I got to get to the top of that. Curiosity might get the best of me. What we'll see, yeah, gotta see. Curiosity might be the enemy. What we'll see, yeah, gotta see. Hello, paper. You're quite the chaser. I don't know what I was expecting. Everything will trigger. While you're fast. And my name's Victor. Your home is wacky and it's tacky and it's full of danger. Run away. I'm so scared. This guy is crazy. Why is there a shot? Run, run, run. I'm gonna die. I took the time. That looks like a rhyme stuff. Sorry, rushing in against the foot. Culminating physics. Swear I'm gonna pull the pictures. Swear I'm going to do it. Navigate until I see the people. Traveling into. Probably 20 grand. The angle. Sounds like it's dinner. I'll catch you later. I just moved in across the street. I'm going to home invader. Mission accomplished. That's what I came for. I know your secret has and regrets. I can be my maker. Curiosity got the best of me.
Okay, so that's the end of the live stream for now, and yeah, I know I wrote over the characters, but I didn't save that, and it's not going to be finished today. I'm going to keep trying to make a video for it when I'm shading and all that other stuff. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and Tristan, I'm sure you were the one watching. Bye, guys.